Earlier this morning, as we mentioned, the Biden administration published its new emergency temporary standard for companies with more than 100 employees. And the pushback was strong and fast. I said that there would be lawsuits tomorrow. Well, they were today. The attorney generals of Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee filed their lawsuits against the administration. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem announced via a Twitter video that her administration would join a lawsuit against the mandate. The Republican National Committee said it would sue the administration. And my next guest has announced 3 separate lawsuits. Joining me now is Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. Todd, welcome back to the program.
Hey, great to be with you. I wish it was on some different subject.
Well, I mean, they're coming left and right from this administration, or I should say left and left. Tell us about the 3 lawsuits that you will be filing.
Well, this breaks down a couple different ways, 3 different ways, at least for us here in Indiana. First is the OSHA rule that you've described. We now have that rule. Remember, this was September 9th when President Biden said he threatened all of us and said it was coming. And for these 2 months, basically, he's been intimidating the American workforce, certainly us here in the Hoosier State, and perhaps even duped people into getting vaccines before the rule even came out. Well, now we have it. So my brother and sister attorneys general, the like-minded ones at least, are all in different ways filing lawsuits. And ours is going to be in the 7th Circuit, which sits in Chicago. And the other attorneys general filing their own, as you've been reporting. Other states are joining together in groups. So that's the first one. We are going to fight back and ask not only the 7th District, but ultimately probably the Supreme Court to stay this Biden OSHA rule, because this isn't a workplace issue. We've had this virus around for years now, literally. It's so much more than the workplace, and it's decreasing all the time, by the way. But it's in our houses, our churches, it's in our schools. It's becoming, for better or worse, part of our lives. And to use the OSHA law to try to mandate this egregious and insidious requirement is just too much. A lot of it's been too much, but we think we have a great legal ground to stand on there with the first suit, for sure.
Well, let me ask you about that with the OSHA. Just the process by which it was adopted. They used the emergency temporary standard. And I think you could argue that at this point, we have neither an emergency nor is this temporary in terms of needing them to take this shortcut to put this rule in place.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly right. It's the same old game that they've been playing for at least 10 months now, but the left has been working decades on this, and that is, how much more can we chip away at your liberties and freedoms? The lawmakers are the ones that are supposed to do the lawmaking, and only because we put them there. They're directly responsible and accountable to us, we the people. And these leftists continually try to flip that on its end. And, that's what we fought a revolutionary war over. That's why we have these great timeless documents in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution to say to the world for the first time ever that the best ideas for self-governance are ones where the people are in charge and the government is subject to us, not that we're subjects of the king. And so this is just another and the latest example of them unwinding what really is American exceptionalism. So there's a lot of different fronts we fight on. And don't forget about the 2nd and 3rd suit that we have. Federal contractors under a different rule are going to be subject. They don't even have a choice like private employees, over 100 employees would, where it's a vaccine or a test. And by the way, think about the feasibility of a test. Are we even going to have enough testing kits to even cover the choice? But under the federal contractor suit, they don't have a choice. If you work for the federal government in some kind of contractual relationship, or your business does, you don't even get a test. You just have to be vaccinated as if you were, in fact, a federal employee. So we're going to be joining great friends in Louisiana and Mississippi to sue on that front. And that lawsuit, if not already filed, should be filed imminently.
General Rokita, let me ask you a couple questions. Going back to the first suit where you're filing in the 7th District and we have other states filing in different districts, is a part of the strategy to move this through different circuits so that we are putting pressure on the Supreme Court to take this case?
Well, let me just say this, Tony. The attorneys general know how to use our phones. We know how to use our keyboards. We're coordinating for the best interests of our states first and foremost. But the best resolution is the one you described, where the Supreme Court weighs in on this way before January 4th.
Right.
When this insidious and egregious rule would otherwise go into effect. So there is definitely a strategy to get this heard by the highest court as soon as practical.
Before we run out of time, General, give us the third lawsuit.
Right. So now we have the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and they want to require every healthcare worker who provides services that are covered by Medicare or Medicaid to be vaccinated as well. So you'll see, again, Indiana join with Louisiana, Mississippi, perhaps some other states to fight against that particular mandate as well. And again, that covers in itself millions of workers. We already have a healthcare shortage,
right,
with millions of workers probably going to retire or not put up with this. You're going to have a real serious shortage in terms of delivery of services. And again, it's a good lawsuit in the sense that we fought this battle before in the Sebelius case with Obamacare. It's a direct attack on state sovereignty and ability to carry out its own policies.
Well, we'll be watching these very closely because a lot is at stake in the outcome of these suits and stopping this mandate. General, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
You bet. Thank you.
All right.